Hello and welcome to Maths with Jacob. This lesson will focus on multiplying decimals. When multiplying two decimals together, the rules are very similar to those we use when multiplying whole numbers. The following rules are a great guide. Number 1. Multiply the two numbers and leave out the decimals initially. So pretend there are no decimals and just multiply the two numbers out. Rule number 2. Find the total number of digits after the decimal points in the two original numbers. Now when we do the examples, I'll explain very clearly what that means. And number 3. In the answer, the number of digits to the right of the decimal point must equal this total. I will also explain that when we do the examples. So let's have a look at this first example. Answer each of the following. 3.48 times 2.6. You can see that each of these are decimal numbers. Now the first rule says multiply the two numbers together, but don't worry about decimal points. So I've done this in a very detailed manner where I've set it all up and I've done all the trading. So it would be a great idea if you actually write all this down on a sheet of paper and go through it yourself and use that as a check. So we've done all the multiplication, and in the last line we have 9048. Now the first thing it says, find the total number of digits after the decimal points in the two original numbers. Now here are the two original numbers. There's one there and one there. Let's count the total number of digits after the decimal point. 1, 2, 3. So there's a total of 3 digits. The last rule says, in the answer, the number of digits to the right of the decimal point must equal this total. So now we go to the answer, and we have to place the decimal point here because we have 1, 2, 3 digits after the decimal point, and that's what we need. So we know that the answer is 9.048, and that's how you work out where the decimal point goes. Let's look at the next example. We have 56.34 times 2.7. So we set out the two numbers, no decimal point. Here is our long multiplication. Now, I want you to remember that when you multiply by the 2, see, this first line here, that's the result of multiplying by the 7. And that's all the trading here in red. The second line is the result of multiplying by the 2, which is really 20, because it's in the tens column. Remember, there are no decimal points here. That's why we put a 0 first. Okay? And then the trading for this section here is in green. That's why I put it in green so you don't get confused. So once all the multiplication is done and you do all the addition, you get those 6 digits. Now let's have a look at the total number of decimal points we have here. The total number of digits after the decimal points in the original sum. 1, 2, 3. So it's 3 again. So in the answer, we place the decimal point here because that gives us 3 digits after the decimal point in the final answer, and that's what the rule says. Let's look at the next slide. This one is more involved because we're multiplying by 3 digits here. Notice no decimal points. I've done all the working for you, so go through it very carefully. Notice here in this line we're multiplying by 200. So when we get to the stage where we multiply by 2, we're actually multiplying by 200. That's why I have 2 zeros first. And here's the trading. That's when you multiply by 8. That's when you multiply by 3. And that's when you multiply by the 2. So I've separated those and had different colours so we don't get confused. When we do the addition, we get that. Let's look at how many digits there are after the decimal points in the original sum. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 altogether. In the answer, you have to have 4 digits after the decimal point. And that's why the decimal point goes there. The final example is quite involved because look how it is. We have 4 digits here, so it's quite involved. And that's why it goes all the way down here. And have a think why I've got those zeros there. I've explained that earlier. I've got 4 different lines here for the trading. Okay, and that's for the trading with each of these numbers when you do the multiplication. Now, when you do the addition, you get all these digits. Let's check how many digits there are after the decimal point in the initial sum. 1, 2, 3, 4. In the answer, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's why the decimal point goes there. So this video has given us a number of examples where we can practice multiplying decimals together, and we've had 3 rules to follow, and if we follow those rules very carefully, that will tell us where to put the decimal point in the final answer, and that way we make sure that we have the correct answer.